This movie was about
Yeah. Yeah. Lights, camera, action is going down. For my ATL movies, when we run this town with your host, T-Will, yeah, keeping it real. From the A to the screen, you can feel the thrill. Rolling with the classics, we're setting the pace. Highlighting the magic of our soulful space. Got the vibe, got the crew, making it tight. When the screen lights up, everything feels right. Grab your popcorn, let's make it loud. T-Will, T-Will. It's movie time, ATL style. Stand proud. From the silver screen to the hearts we steal. T-Will, T-Will. Every frame we capture is a real deal. Yeah. Talking premieres where the stars align. ATL views, yeah, they really shine. Behind the lens, capture.
welcome everyone to Punisher One Shot, One Kill on For My ATL Movies with your host T-Will and my guy, Mr. Jordan Burton. Jordan, how you doing, brother? All well?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing well. As my aunt would say, my dearly departed aunt, I'm doing 100 in the shade. I don't know what that meant, but she likes to say it all the time. So, hey, man, shout out to you, auntie. But yeah, man, let's talk about it. One Shot, One Kill Punisher, 45-minute TV show, TV movie, TV special.
It's a special presentation. I will say, I wish Disney did more of these, but this specific one, I don't think they should have done. But there's certain instances where they really should lean heavily into these special presentations, and it's something that they really should have started with when they started Disney Plus, that post Endgame era. They really should have had more of these because every single one of these special presentations, we had the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special and Werewolf by Night and Punisher One Last Kill. Those three these three have been really good. And in comparison, like they're 3 for 3. They're batting 100 or 1,000 right now.
1,000. They're batting
1,000 right now.
They're killing it.
And like compared to the shows, might be batting 500, maybe. I don't know, but I really enjoyed this. And I will say before we get into this is the newest if in the timeline order. In terms of like when we're rewatching it, we're obviously reviewing this very out of order compared to what we're reviewing, but that's because this is only a 45-minute special, and we can quickly review it. It's not, and also this is one of those the way this is done. You could show this to anybody. And they don't need to watch. They don't need to have caught up on where the Punisher's been at in season 2 of Daredevil, season 1 and 2 of his own show, Daredevil Born Again, season 1. Like you don't need to have watched all that to watch this and enjoy it. And that's what makes this little one-shot special so great. And yeah, it does take place in the timeline right after Wonder Man, so the year that this takes place, I think, is 2026?
Yeah.
2027. 2027 this takes place. So I don't know when in 2027. Could be the summertime, could be spring, could be fall. I don't know.
When does Spider-Man Brand New Day take place? Because if it takes place before that, maybe that explains why the Punisher is in this present state. Because I went back when I watched One Last Kill, watched it for the second time. But when I watched it the first time, I'm thinking to myself, what did I miss? How did we get to this state? 2018, Curtis is alive. He's not dead. And although he may have some differences with the Punisher, yeah, he's still solid. The Punisher's still solid. Matter of fact, when Billy calls Kurt to say, hey, can you come be a brother one last time? Punisher shows up. The whole second season started because Kurt says the Punisher, you should have put him down the first time. I want a life. So I don't see where Kurt is necessary. And I know Kurt, look, if you deal with somebody that their response to everything is to murder somebody when they get it would be a bit intrusive. It would be a bit laborious. It would be exhausting. But at the end of the day, the Punisher is who the Punisher is, and Curtis is his friend. And I don't think they have that significant of a fallout to where the next time we see him after Daredevil and all that stuff, you're going through this grief. Like, to me, it feels like Curtis somehow died at some point before this.
So it sounds like that did happen, that in the process of the Ganucci's, the family that's kind of like family, the central antagonist.
Right.
Yeah. In the process, right before Punisher straight killed them all, that they were involved in killing him. Now, I will say, the way that like Karen shows up, in my opinion, and the way this whole story is written, it does leave the door open that he is still alive at that, and Frank's just really screwed up right now.
Right.
That he's kind of going through all the motions right now. So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't really. I think he's dead, and I think when we get into like Daredevil Born Again season 3, I think we're going to be introduced to maybe a lot of characters who were in like all the other shows.
Yeah.
That they'll say they died, but they just don't want them back, and they want a new take on the story. Kind of like basically what they did with Foggy. So, and we don't. We're at a point. If you're watching this, in my opinion, you're all caught up on everything Marvel. So
yeah.
So I think we should feel free to spoil whatever. Like
we do anyway.
Dying,
I mean,
yeah, exactly. Foggy dying, like that's one of those things. In order for us to have gotten Born Again season 1 and 2, Foggy had to have died. And I do think Curtis died. That's my take on it. And I liked Curtis, or Kurt. I really liked his character. He was one of those characters, because Frank is so just like out there mentally and emotionally, and especially with Jigsaw was basically like that too. Kurt just felt like this one character that I can lean back on and be like, he's got my back. Like I trust this dude. I trust whatever he says, whatever he does. I don't want him to die. I feel comfortable with him. He's my comfort character. Same thing with Foggy. Foggy was the comfort character.
Okay, I see. Yeah, okay. I see. And you know what? You know what else? Foggy was Matt's conscious, and Kurt was Punisher's conscious. So that I see what you did there, but I think there should have been some sort of explanation, and maybe that was intentional. Maybe they wanted us to, scheme and theorize and make educated guesses, or uneducated guesses or whatever. But I feel like that is a major piece to the story that's incomplete, right? Mm-hmm. Because he's having conversations with Curtis that are clearly the manifestations of his guilt, which typically happens when someone dies. Now, the conversation that he has with Karen, obviously she's not there. She's a figment of his imagination. And she's like, you call yourself a husband or a father? So that's also the manifestation of his guilt. Yeah. We know Karen's not dead. Mm-hmm. So there is a possibility that Curtis could be dead. I think you needed some sort of explanation as to how he got to this state where he's clearly having hallucinations. He's alone. You feel like if he was in that state, he would call Kurt. So
Yes.
why doesn't he?
Yep.
Right? Why doesn't he?
Mhm.
So it's almost like it feels like Curtis is dead. And if that's the case, then I understand, because Curtis was Curtis was his conscience. And where Matt loved Foggy, Punisher needs Curtis. Like Punisher needs Curtis to be like, nah, man, you too far. You know what I mean? Like, bro, just pull back. So again, I don't know, but anyway, he's in this very vulnerable state. I would say this is the most vulnerable we've seen John Bernthal play the Punisher, and I think he does a great job of it. Once we get past the what happened to Curtis, I thought it was a great take on it, because everybody's like, well, he's the Punisher just kills and kills and kills. You're not with the Punisher 24/7. And for you to be able to kill and kill and kill, at a certain point, it's going to bother you. At a certain point, you're going to have moments to yourself that people don't see. And we're seeing behind the curtain on this one. I very much like the fact that they did it. Now, I felt like it could have been shorter, and I felt like you could have provided, a reason why, but you don't get everything you want. But, I think he does a great job of showing just how vulnerable and just how he's teetering on the brink of a total breakdown, right? I think they do a great job of that. I also like the fact that Miss Nucci, who is an amputee in the comics and a very bad person, a very, 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 very bad person. I can't say that enough, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're watching this, bad, bad, bad person. Okay, I know in the TV series she looks all frail, and she is. But spend about an hour with her, you'd be ready to kill her too. I'm just saying. So, this whole thing takes place. Obviously, Punisher's going through something. He's alone. He's destitute. He's fighting his own demons. He's doing the best he can do to keep it going. But again, you can only go through so much, and the brain can only take so much. And he's at his point. And at his lowest point, he's walking through the neighborhood, ho-hum, goes to the local bakery or whatever, sees this guy freaking out in there, sees this guy with his daughter or granddaughter or whatever. And, he's trying to calm her and be a good dad. And Punisher recognizes this, and that'll come back to pay dividends later. But anyway, as he's walking home, he hears this voice. And I think she says, "Hey, Frank." She doesn't call him Punisher. She says, "Hey, Frank." Right. And, he turns around, and it's Mrs. Nucci. And she's like, "I need your help. I want to tell you a story." And she tells him the story of just how he killed all of her sons and her husband, right? And the way she does it, she's telling it from her perspective. And I liked it because we get to see, we really get a window into what the villains of the Punisher, or what the loved ones of those who the Punisher killed, like what they feel as this is happening. Like they really do a good job of that. And she talks about her son who was the cop, and her other son, and her husband who was cheating on her. And then she talks about her son who, I believe they alluded to, maybe he was doing some inappropriate thing with kids, but how, that wasn't true, and how he was her baby, and how he just loved her. And even with his dying breath, he was still trying to comfort her. And then we see Punisher curb stomp him, American History X style. Wow. And then she says, as she's describing the death of her last son, she was like, "At 6:47, I will never forget that. I will never forget that time. I will never forget it." And, she describes it, and she says, "I've sent out a hit to everybody that worked for us in this neighborhood, and they are all coming for you today at 6:47 p.m. and it kind of has this 3 o'clock high feel. Like, have you ever seen 3 o'clock high?
Mm-mm.
God.
I know. I
Ah,
know.
you know what? We're gonna start having meetings about movies you haven't seen before we do this.
Did you see
But
Project Almanac?
I did not. But
No. Okay.
Project Almanac doesn't work for this metaphor here that I'm about to make. So anyway, it's like in school, right? And you get into an argument with somebody, and this guy's a bully, and he's much bigger with you, and he's bigger than you. He's like, "I'm gonna kick your ass," and you're sitting there
There's
waiting.
not many people bigger than me. Oh.
Well, I'm only 5'9", so there's a lot of people bigger than me. So I'm speaking from personal experience, but I'm just saying, you're sitting there and you're like, oh God, it's 2 o'clock, it's 2:30, it's 2:45, it's 2:55. Why can't there be some sort of fire drill? Something, right? But the point is, it kind of has that feel because she's like at 6:47. Everybody that used to work for us is coming, right? And it's like, and the Punisher, he's still in this quasi state of, I just don't care, right? Like, he's walking through the neighborhood, there are crimes going on. He's not even paying attention to it because this man is broken. Anyway, I've talked enough. Give me your thoughts on this scene. Give me your thoughts on what's taking place thus far.
You know, my least favorite part of this whole presentation is the acting from this actress who plays Ma Ganucci.
I knew that. I knew when you told me that. Yeah.
I just feel like, and I had this conversation with someone about.
Isn't she the actress from that show with Tony Danza?
I don't know.
Where he was like her housekeeper or something, and she was a corporate. It was back in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I had this conversation with someone, and they were like, "Well, she's trying to play a New York accent." And I'm like, "Yeah, I've seen New York accents. This just is terrible acting. Like, I don't. When she's talking, I genuinely don't believe a single word she's saying, and that there's no way that's intentional. Because if it was, it doesn't make sense if that was intentional. It just feels like, imagine Kingpin telling his "when I was a boy" stories, and just none of that was true. Like, he's like, "When I was a boy, I killed my father," and it's like, Mr. Kingpin, your dad is in a home right now. Like, I just.
So why didn't you believe her? Like, was it her tone? Like, why?
It was her tone, the way she was, her dialogue was coming off. Like, her dialogue was fine, but the way she performed it, I was just like, I had to actually rewind the scene because I'm like, I need to understand what she's saying, because I feel like this is probably some of the worst acting I've seen of any Marvel anything ever. That includes like 90s movies acting. Like, I'm gonna put her on that conversation. I just was like, I'm like, I don't. You don't sound threatening at all, and like, look, you can. Her role could have been threatening. But I also, it's her just showing up out of nowhere and doesn't do anything for me. Like, I felt like there needed to be build up to how powerful is this woman, because this woman just showing up and is acting like a Karen. It felt like she was acting like a Karen, and Frank's just like, I don't care, bro. Like, I'm trying to myself, so like, I don't care what you're saying. Like, her just showing up, I'm like, okay, he doesn't care, I don't care. This just doesn't do anything for me. So I don't know. I think it was the acting, because all right, I'm gonna hats off to John Bernthal for writing this. because this is insanely well written. This entire special presentation. He said he knew what he wanted to do, and he did it. That's the number one thing I will commend about this entire thing, even over the brutality and of the kills and stuff like that, because I also think that's awesome.
Me too. I loved it.
But everything, the emotional scenes were so emotional. It's just, my biggest criticism is two things. It's just the acting of of Maganuchi, because I needed her to be a little bit more intimidating in a way, and it has nothing to do with her disability, because there are plenty of comic book characters with disabilities that are extremely threatening, and you can be threatening with just your mind and just who you have like at your disposal. Like, it's just, she had all of these people trying to kill him, and I was just like, I still don't feel like you're threatening that much. Like, it felt like this special presentation was more of a journey of getting the Punisher back on the horse than it was big threat over there, and the Punisher needs to take care of it. Like, I knew wholeheartedly. I was just like, maybe that has to do with the fact that we know he'll be back for Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Yeah.
So it's like, when you title this One Last Kill, it's like, at the end of this, I'm like, what does that even mean?
Let's talk about that for a sec. So, does it mean, because if we go back, allow me a little latitude here, Your Honor. If we go back to season 2, a big part of that season was the fact that Billy, or Jigsaw, made him think that he killed 3 women while he was going after him. And it messed with his psyche, because he was saying, well, then I'm just like everybody else. I'm a scumbag, just like, he doesn't kill innocents, he doesn't kill women or children. And so this was a big thing to him. And maybe, and again, I don't know, this is all supposition, okay? But maybe it's saying that if he'd have killed Maganuchi, or Maganuchi, however it's pronounced, Mrs. Ganucci, whatever, Maganuchi, like we're on the porch. But I used to watch Hee Haw, and I'm from Alabama, so I can make that joke anyway. But maybe they're talking about her. Maybe it's referencing the fact that if he would have killed her, this doesn't happen, right? If he would have adopted, or amended his policy of killing women, because she was clearly in on it, she was clearly a part of it. If he would have done that, then maybe this doesn't happen. I can't say for sure. That's just a thought, but give me your thoughts on what you think it could be, or what it is or isn't.
Man, if this was like a Logan style like ending for the Punisher, it would have been it, and he ended up like going through with what his initial plan was. It would have been probably a much more emotional presentation, and honestly, it should have been a movie at that point. But I've tried to wrap my head around the title probably since I watched the special. I don't know if that's One Last Kill. I'm trying. I feel like I'm making excuses for why it should be called One Last Kill, because I really don't have an idea. I thought maybe, okay, one last kill. He's got one last person to kill, and that's Maganuchi, but he doesn't kill her. It leaves her story like all like out of, I don't know, like they could set her up for something else in the future. It's so frustrating because I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Like it feels like this is this title's just a bait. It's just bait for everybody to be like, all right, it's called The Punisher: One Last Kill. That means you should probably go watch it. But it really doesn't really have a too much of a reason. I'd be curious to hear John Bernthal specifically's answer on that, though.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Definitely. So, obviously she makes her declaration, and then we have an encounter with Karen Page, Matt Murdock's boo thing, and Punisher. And I don't care what anybody says. They're playing this like Wolverine and Jean Grey. Like Punisher loves him some Karen Page, man. And Karen knows it, and she kind of plays on it a little bit. Not she plays on it a little bit. Karen Page, to me, the way she sees Punisher is, it reminds me of Erykah Badu's song, I Guess I'll See You Next Lifetime. Tell me you've heard that song, George. No. Jesus.
I'll listen. Wait. I'll listen. Wait, what? No. I'll listen to it after. I'll listen to it after. Okay. What was it called? What was it called?
Yeah. I guess I'll see you next lifetime. But it's basically a song about this young lady who's enchanted with this young man, but she's in a relationship. And so she says, hey, I guess I'll see you next lifetime. That's the vibe I get from Karen when it comes to Punisher. Now, Punisher, she's it for, his wife's dead, right? So basically, I think he tried to have a relationship with the woman, and the woman ended up getting shot in season 2. And that was
I was so mad. Oh, I love that episode too. That's when we get to Punisher season 2, that's
they do him so wrong. They do him so wrong.
They do both seasons of the Punisher. That first episode is a great beginning to both seasons. They do such a great job.
I really liked season 2. I'll save it for season 2, but there's one episode I really, really like, and it's what they do with Pilgrim, who is one of the antagonists for season 2, but we'll get to that in season 2. And guys watching this, I know we're out of sequence. Okay. Season 2 probably coming up next week. Whatever. We'll do it.
We're trying to get ready for Spider-Man Brand New Day, and we can't review Spider-Man Brand New Day without this.
There you go. That's why we're doing this. What he said. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
What he said. It's gonna come up. It's gonna come up the other way on the video. Anyway, what the hell are we talking about?
It's like the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
It's like the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
Here's a story of a man named Terry.
Here's a story of a man named Terry and his best buddy Jordan. No, so what the hell? Okay. Anyway, they have this encounter, right? And he's like, are you there? And she's like, yes, I'm there. But she's clearly not there. But that's how lost he is. But the last thing she says is, look at the clock, it's 6:47. So that's his conscience's way of telling him, hey, man, game time. All right, let's go. Gear up, son. Ice up, son. Let's go. Okay? Got a whole bunch of folk. And they set him on fire. They pour gasoline. Now, let me tell you something, okay? This is where I kind of get off the Punisher train for just a little bit. I know the Punisher is something, okay? I know he's tough. He's one tough SOB. But as someone who has been burned before, not by fire, but by hot antifreeze, when I tell you it will make the manliest of men scream like a girl, it will make the manliest of men scream like a girl. So, Jordan, I'm going to ask you to just walk with me here for a sec. I know this isn't in the script, but we're going to do it, okay? About 24 years ago, maybe? 23, 24.
When I was 1.
When you were 1. Right? I was a spry young T. Will. I was him. Like you're him now? I was him then.
I've always been him.
Okay, I understand. Well, damn it, I was him. You know, we'll see. We'll see if you're still him when you're 50, Jordan.
I'll always be him.
Okay, well, hey, we'll see. If I'm kicking around at 80 when we'll see, you know what I mean? You call me in the nursing home and we'll have a conversation about it.
Yeah, we'll have a race.
Oh, that's just mean. That's just mean, Jordan. Anyway, we'll have a race. Whatever. You've been hanging out with my son at little. Anyway, what the hell am I talking? Okay, so I pull over. I'm driving to a flag football game because I was into the sports back then, right? And I was driving a car and the radiator was bad, but when it ran hot, what I would do is pull over, peel the cap off. You know, the one that says do not remove when it's hot. Well, I used to remove that, right? Just carefully let the steam kind of rise up, put it back on, and then the temperature will go down. You keep driving. Well, I'm in a rush and this car is really hot. Okay. It is really hot. So I pull over, I pull the gauge off, antifreeze shoots up, hits me in the face, and I turn around and run like a girl. Now, here's the thing. Thank God it hit me on this side of the face, because when you're being burned, and this was my point, you don't care where you're running. You're not in that frame of mind, right? I turned to the left because I got burned on the right side. Had I been burned on the left side, we're probably not here right now because I run into traffic and I'm probably killed. Okay. So thank you, big guy. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Thank you. But I turn, I run, I'm screaming like a girl, right? I get in my car, and that wasn't fire, Jordan. Okay. I ended up with second-degree burns. I do have a burn over my lip here where hair doesn't grow, but outside of that, I had a beard at the time. So most of it got here. I really believe this would have been permanently damaged if I didn't have a beard. I thank God for it. But anyway, the point is, I was not in my right mind. There is no way you're going to be on fire, okay? Unless your name is Luke Cage and you don't feel it anyway. Or maybe you do. I don't know. But there's no way you're just going to sit there on your mark, get set. Now I'm going to run as I'm on fire. No, buddy. Nah. You might have run through it. You're not going to sit there and wait, buddy. Okay? That's where I kind of got off that train. And I haven't been burned by fire, but taking to someone who has been burned by antifreeze, that shit hurts. Okay? I'm not saying I'm the most manly of men. I'm not effeminate either, but I scream like a girl. Okay? I went permanent soprano. I was hitting notes Mariah couldn't hit. Okay? I'm just saying. That's where they kind of lost me for just a smidge. Nobody's going to sit back there and wait. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Oh, the fire's coming up my legs. 3 Mississippi. All right. Nobody's going to do that. All right. That was my rant. It's over. Fight begins. Give me your thoughts on this scene, Jordan.
Well, I'll start with Karen. For a split second, I was like, "Oh, wait, is this actually Karen?" And I was like, "No, there's no way it's her." Plus, they did it on purpose. Like they threw her in a hoodie, and that's not something Karen wears. It just seemed like Karen was out of character. And
she did wear a hoodie when she was going out, though, didn't she? Didn't she have on a hoodie? When she went out in that last episode? No, the episode before the last when they were like,
in a disguise. Yeah, in a disguise they were. So, but that kind of sets you up with, like, if you had already watched Born Again season 2, you're thinking to yourself like, okay, this isn't what Karen normally wears, and then you go into this and you're like, wait, she's still not wearing something she normally wears. So it, like, Born Again season 2 kind of sets you up to be like, okay, you should know this is not Karen. Okay. So I was like, as soon as she started getting real close to him, I was like, yeah, this definitely isn't Karen. Because after we saw Born Again season 2 finale, woo, I was like, I thought Matt was gonna propose, but anyway, that's a whole other thing. We'll get to Born Again season 2 when we get to Born Again season 2 later this year. But I was, Karen's the one person that, like, the Punisher, it's so funny because Frank is like wants to kill everything in his path, and he cares about like kids and stuff like that. But there's one person on this earth, right, that is currently alive that just puts him in his place like he's a little puppy dog, and that is Karen.
Yep.
It's just so funny, and I see so many memes where it's like Frank saying, "I'm gonna kill you," and Karen's like, "No, you're not," and he's like, "Yes, ma'am." or she'll be like, "Go do the dishes," and he'll be like, "Yes, ma'am." Like, I just get that vibe all the time between the two of them. That's why I like seeing them on screen together. It's not that I never want them to be in a relationship, and that's something that actually a large part of the internet wants them to. But I just like their dynamic, that it's like there is this tension. Karen knows that he likes her, but she likes him, but not in that way. And so, but she knows that if she needs anything, and I mean anything, that Frank will be there. And that was proof in Born Again season 1,
I think she does like him a little bit that way. I disagree. I think he's the boy from the wrong side of the tracks, and he's like the forbidden treat. And because there's a moment they have where like they've almost kissed a couple times in that elevator. There's
Yes.
that was not
that's one time. But look at how they've grown. Look how all of the characters, Daredevil, how Matt, Frank, and Karen have grown since that very moment.
I get it.
Like they've grown. Everybody's been a lot closer. Frank's been a little bit more distant. But yeah, but like Frank's just shows up at the end of Born Again season 1, and it's like, all right, who called? Everybody has these conspiracy theories in the middle of this episode, like, oh, who called Frank? Who called Frank? Karen called Frank. like if Karen said to Frank, "I need you on Mars tomorrow," he'd figure out some way of getting on Mars.
Frank is the guy Karen would call if she was leaving Matt to move her shit. Like,
yes,
she'd be like, okay, that's fine. Okay, how'd that song go? I can have another you in a minute. Matter of fact, he'll be here in a minute. That'd be Frank. I'm just saying. But I think there's very much sexual chemistry between the two. Now, again, I will give you, Karen does not acquiesce to it. She doesn't play into it, but it's there. Okay, it's there. But anyway,
but him catching on fire, you know, I've taken this as like Frank earlier in this episode just stabbed himself and crossed an X over his Marines tattoo, which all right, small continuity error because he never had that until this special, which was weird. It just feels like an odd thing, especially like we've seen Frank without a shirt. So like for him to like it's one thing you have a small one, maybe like on a bicep or something, but that's a large tattoo that we'd all remember. Like imagine like one day I have this eye tattoo, right? And it's just like, I don't know, a Super Bowl ring, let's say, of the New Orleans Saints.
You did not have that. You know what? You know what?
But I'll get to a point.
I'm putting you in timeout. No, you didn't have to do that.
Let's say I have this big tattoo.
Jordan is a Saints fan and I'm a Falcons fan. I'm surprised we're even friends, honestly. But I'm just saying that was foul. Okay, that's foul, man. That is. But you know what? Just for that, your team's going to lose 9 games this year. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
But let's say I show up to a stream one time and I get this big tattoo over my eye, but nobody comments on it, and then the next stream it's just gone. Like we'll be like, okay, what's with what
happened?
And like it just shows up, and it's like, do we expect him to have gotten that tattoo in between Punisher season 2 or Punisher season 2? and now, because that was probably the last time he didn't have like a shirt on for us to notice that. But I don't know. That's just really just odd continuity error. It's not something I'll harp on. Like it's something that I will every time I'm watching.
Maybe he got it because Curtis died. Maybe
I thought about that. That's probably
maybe,
the only logical reason I thought of.
Yeah.
So you know what? That'll be my headcanon. That'll be my headcanon that's why. But yeah, he catches on fire and you know, he's gone.
He waits.
In a lot of pain.
And he waits.
Yeah.
And he waits like
you're telling me
you've never
never caught on fire and just stood there and be like, I am the Avatar.
Yeah, no. No. Let me tell you something.
I am a firebender.
No. I need you to go back and watch Michael, okay? Just go back and watch it again, okay? That's the response, right? That's the, like, how he was like, hee. That's the, okay, that was a bit over.
Annie, are you okay?
Annie, and he was not okay. He was not okay.
Was not okay.
Just saying.
He was, in fact, struck by a smooth criminal.
I apologize for the silliness, ladies. I don't know what the hell is going on with us. Anyway, go ahead, man. So the fight begins, yes. Right? And what we see is 20 minutes of a symphony of death. Like literally the way he moves, the way he transitions. This is so well done, with one exception. And I know you know where I'm going, because you and I do research on this.
Yeah.
Okay. There's the scene where he falls onto the air conditioner conductor metallic structure or whatever. And it looks like very bad CGI. I think that was the other thing that other than that, I loved it, but that felt like that was bad, man. Give me your thoughts on that.
So I actually watched, and I was curious. I'm glad that the social media team did this. I watched the making of that scene, and it's posted. So the only CGI that was involved was Jon Bernthal's face on a stunt double's body at the end. But they did film scenes where he was falling. That way they could like try and manipulate the scene a little bit more. But otherwise, that was only CGI involved. So what I get out of that, I think there's a couple things that lead to that. And there's another YouTuber, Brown Table, I'm pretty sure is his name. I like his videos for Marvel content. He said it right away. He's like, I think this was probably real, and I think the lighting is so different. It's not bad. It's just it's lit in a certain way that it just makes it look fake. On top of that, the stunt double sucked, and you can see him like over exaggerate his like kick with his leg at the end, and with the lighting, because when you're doing CGI, a lot of the times the CGI makes it like lighter, like it makes things just brighter and lighter. On top of that, you have the sun lit in this area, and this whole special isn't shot dark; it's shot very bright and light. Which is a very odd choice for the Punisher. Because in my opinion, if I were ever to be given the grace of God to do a Punisher special or Punisher movie or show, you best believe I'm going to be lighting it in dark colors, like purple, like black, like gray, like dark blue, and dark red. Like I'm going to do dark colors so that because that should be the style of the Punisher. But there's not really a distinct style with this presentation. It's more of like a grimy, like military-esque movie. I wouldn't say like John Wick, but almost like early Jason Bourne films. Not the last couple Jason Bourne films, but the first couple. Where you have this like grayish, like deserty color scheme, this griminess to filming it. So it's just it's odd, and it allows a scene like that to happen. So like the color, there was a lot that happened that allowed for that scene to look like that.
Yeah.
You have a stunt double, which I would love to know the budget on this, because I'm gonna guess it was really low. Which, I mean, it should have been, but I
A
also
street level villain. I mean, you
Yeah.
know, you don't, you know what I mean? He doesn't
Like-
have abilities, so you know.
Yes. Yeah. So what, like the stunt
Well-
double doing his thing, on top of the CGI with the face, just Frank's face on the body, the lighting, and the machine that he falls on. I don't know what it is. An air conditioning
It's like an air conditioner duct or something
duct.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it just looked like parts of it looked like almost like a bed, like
Yeah.
the way it was just the way
Yeah.
it just
kinda
doesn't fall apart really well.
Yeah.
They maybe should have tested that out a little bit more instead of doing that. But yeah, a lot of things led to that happening. And I go back and I look at it, it is kind of an eyesore. But if you just think to yourself, this is an actual, you just got to think when you watch this scene from now on, that's like, no, this actually is a person. Like a person actually did this. And when you like almost rewatch it like 100 times, like one of those clips on like Twitter or TikTok or whatever, just rewatch it like a bunch of times and be like, okay, this is real. This is real. This is real. None of it's CGI. None of it's AI. None of it's anything. It's all real. And that's really well I'll go with it.
Okay. All right. So the Punisher maneuvers through, like, he killed at least 100 people, but he's maneuvering through the apartments. To me, the other thing that was silly about it is you sent street guys knowing that the Punisher is a special forces god.
Yeah.
So you were doomed to fail. Like let's say you sent, I don't know, Taskmaster. Okay, that's a fight. That's a fight. That's an Punisher might actually look like he might need some help. Okay. If you sent Deathstroke, I know he's in DC, but I'm just giving, compo. Yeah. If you sent the Russian, right? And look, if you sent Pilgrim, which and maybe that's, well, I'm sorry, damn, my bad, wrong show. Okay, anyway, but the point is, you sent street guys, right? That's literally like saying, all right, we're gonna play football, and it's T-Will against 36-year-olds. I mean, I know it's 30 of them, but come on, there's 6. That's the equivalent of prodigiousness and technical acumen that they have versus the Punisher's level of this, and it's fighting like they were doomed to fail. So again, it was fun to watch. Okay, it was fun to watch.
I do want some clarification. It's you versus 36-year-olds, not 36-year-olds.
No, yes, 36-year-olds.
Little
who have not yet turned 7.
Yes, of course. Because I'm thinking to myself, like, Terry, I don't know. Matt Stafford's a really good quarterback.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right about that.
I was like, 36. Like, how old's Jalen Ramsey?
Yeah, that would be that would not be in my favor. That would not be in my favor. I can speak to that.
6-year-olds, yeah, of course.
Yeah, I run about a 8.440 right now, so I'm not exactly competitive anymore. But
I
I'm
believe that you can
heart.
Run faster than that.
I don't. I'll one day I'll tell you what my son did to me when we were racing, and
you've told me this story.
Shame on him. I want to say something. I'm not going to say it. Anyway, but yeah, so I mean, look, he moves through these guys like hot butter, like a knife through hot butter. Like he's just mowing them down and cutting them down, and he ends up on the street, and he sees the Ganucci, he sees Mrs. Ganucci and her armed guard, and he has a chance to go and kill them, but then he sees the store that he likes to go, the man that he respects, and the little girl. And the little girl always kind of pays attention to him. She always waves at him, and she reminds him of his daughter. So it's not even a question at this point. He goes into the store and lays down the law. And I think this again was kind of like a two roads diverged, you know what I mean? And you got to make your choice. And I guess he took the road less taken, the road less traveled, whatever. But he goes, kills those guys. And the little girl brings him this little, it was really an adorable scene because you can see that he's thinking of his daughter, and you can also see the purity of the child. And you can see that she looked past his exterior and she saw his heart. She saw him for the protector that he was, for the father that he still is to many kids out there who don't have them. And I thought that was a great moment, right? And it kind of brings him back to earth, and it lets him know that it's going to be okay, right? And of course, he kills all the rest of those people, and her dad says, thank you. But then we see him at the gravesite, and he says, hey, honey, I think I'm going to be able to go on. I saw a little girl that reminded me of you, or I saw someone that reminded me of you today. But he's having this conversation with her, but it kind of gives him hope and inspires him to go on. And it's kind of one of my favorite scenes because, you know, sometimes you just need a little sunshine in your life, man. Sometimes you just need somebody to believe in you when you can't. Sometimes you believe you need somebody to look inside you and see something that you no longer see there. And that's what she does. But Jordan, give me your thoughts, bro.
I do want to point out real quick, when you see Frank's daughter show up, obviously there's a different actress than the one from the season 1 and 2. But that's actually Jon Bernthal's daughter.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
I did not know that until
I didn't know that either.
Right after I watched the
She's
special.
Adorable.
I was like interested.
She's adorable.
And then I kept looking at her. I was like, dang, she does look like Jon Bernthal. But I love when actors get their kids to be in movies to play their own kids or someone related to them. I love that Thor got his daughter to play his adopted daughter in Thor: Love and Thunder, and now in Doomsday. I love that. That's so cool to me. And yeah, just getting, I mean, all right, context is a little weird knowing that, you know, his daughter's dead, but it's still a great scene. I love that connection too. But yeah, the whole fighting, everything that's going on, brutality, next level. Like this is, I would love another list we can come up with. Is like what are the most brutal fight scenes in any of the Marvel movies that we've seen, or Marvel movie shows and special presentations? Because this has to be up there. This is probably top 5, maybe.
It's definitely up there.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's a lot in Deadpool and Deadpool 1 and 2, and Deadpool and Wolverine. Logan has a couple. I mean, there's definitely quite a few that this would rival. I guess just because of the street level of this, it would probably definitely be up there in the conversation for the most graphic. But he just I love his how he just uses whatever's around him to just brutally just annihilate who's ever in his area. And he'll get stabbed in like the hand or something, or in the thigh, or in the chest, and it's like, okay, yeah, I feel no pain, bro. He's like, yeah, you think that's pain? I've watched my whole family die. That's kind of the vibe I get. Anytime something bad happens to the Punisher, is he knows that the pain could be worse, and that no matter what happens to his body, he will not feel near the pain that he felt watching his family die.
I agree with you, except for fire. I'm just saying, bro. That I hear you, but nah, man, nah.
I don't know.
I know, I know.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. I know. I hear what you're saying. Okay, and I'm with you. You're my guy. I'm with you, except for the fire part. Okay, because that shit hurts. I don't want to ever experience being burned by fire. I got burned by radiator fluid, and it hurt, for days.
Now, would
My
you
skin
you
fell
know
off.
that what is that? I like those some people do it with like rituals and stuff where you run across like stones that are on fire like on the beach.
You would
Would
have.
you ever would you ever
Hell no,
do
I
that
wouldn't
though?
do that. Hell no, I wouldn't.
I would consider that. I would if someone's if someone so I'm going on vacation soon. I'm not going to
Don't
say
do that,
where
George. Don't do
specifically,
that, George. Don't
but
do
if someone were to be like, "Hey, I got this over here. You want to try it?" I'd
Don't
be
do that.
like, "Let's go."
And then the rest of your vacation, you're not going to be able to walk because you're going to have third-degree burns on your feet.
See, now I know the science behind why you're able to do that and why you're not able to get any sort of degree burns because you need to be able to walk at such a quick pace that you can do that and not sustain any sort of injury whatsoever. I mean, that's why it's not that large of a fire. It's not that large of like an area that you're running across. Yeah. I mean, you could do it. I would do it. I would do it. Yeah. If someone
Okay.
said right now, let's do it, I'd be like, yeah. Well, now, all right, it's like 90 something degrees outside, so maybe not today. Maybe like on any literally any other day. But yeah, I would do
Yeah,
it.
my cousin, one of my favorite cousins. She's a year younger than me, and we came up together. We're both from Alabama. She still lives in Alabama, but she could walk across hot concrete with her feet and it not bother her. She could walk across cut glass, and that she could do it. She could. Now, you know, I was a punk. I'd get out there, man, on that hand. I'd be like, ow, 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 ow. I'm going to put some shoes on. She's like, you don't need shoes. I was like, yeah, I live in Atlanta with city folks. Whatever. I'll be right back. I'm going to get some shoes. But she could literally walk across. Now, I don't know if she still can, but I mean, I've known her since I was a year old, and we came up together and we summered every year until like I was 18. And she could walk across, man, that if it'd be 90 degrees someday, so the concrete would be like 100. She'd walk across that thing and get nothing, right? So she could do it. I believe that. I, however, would have to cancel my vacation because my punk ass would yeah, I'd be laid up for 3 or 4 days. But anyway, whatever, man. Let's talk about ratings. Jordan, we have done a lot of movies, bro. I'm looking at
Oh yeah.
I'm looking at this. We've done a lot of movies. Damn. We've done a lot. Anyway,
this is our first special presentation too. I mean, it shouldn't be, but based off when we're doing it, this is our first special presentation.
We've done a lot. We've done a lot of content. All right, so I'm gonna give this a 7.5. I liked it. See, I didn't give it an 8. I knew that's where
Good
you
for
were gonna
you.
go. I knew that's where you were gonna go. I didn't give it an 8. I gave it a 7.5. Specifically because I didn't like the fire thing, and I really didn't like the fact that they didn't give us some clue as to why, he's in this state, like a smoke signal, something from the force, some sort of inkling as to what this is. I didn't like that, so I took off for that, but I still liked it. I gave it a 7.5. It is right now. It is above X-Men: The Last Stand. So it's really right. It's underneath Jessica Jones, above X-Men: The Last Stand. So I gave it a 7.5. And I'm really interested to know what you gave it, sir. So when we get off this show, I can come back and say, okay, what was your first one? So.
Yeah, so I had an initial score which was definitely higher than I had roughly what other projects I wanted it to put it around initially, but rewatching it, I'm just like, I feel hollow with this. Like, not the emotional parts, the emotional, like the writing, the emotional parts, the action, all fantastic. I think it should have been longer. And
Yeah.
I say it in a way that's like, I do think it hurt it. Because most of the time when I say, oh, a movie should have been longer, that's a positive thing to take away. But
Right.
specifically a special presentation. And for a long time, the public was told this was going to be 60 minutes exactly. This was like 45 minutes. And that's 15 additional minutes, which would have been really important for tying up the rest of it. And I just think the way it ends, while it's it's a small victory, it almost feels like,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel very satisfying. It just feels like
it's incomplete. It's incomplete.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
I
would agree.
And especially when you watch season 1 and 2 of The Punisher, I do enjoy it, and I think I would recommend it to a lot of people because of the violence, because of the emotional impact. I really enjoyed it. I think there's a couple. I don't like the acting. I think the budget may have been too, which is crazy because I think this is going to be the only project that I ever talk about the budget for. Because I don't normally talk about that, especially when you got Disney money. When you got Disney money, that's money you can use whatever you want.
The boy got his own money.
Like the level of like money put into this felt like something I would expect of something from like 1998. And I do look, I commend Jon Bernthal. Jon Bernthal, the Punisher, is the best part of this special presentation. It just, I just feel hollow, like I'm missing something, and maybe that might be filled with Spider-Man: Brand New Day. Maybe it won't. Because I almost look at this as like a trilogy with like Punisher season 1, Punisher season 2, then the Punisher special presentation. In a way that kind of feels like the Wolverine trilogy almost, where you have X-Men Origins Wolverine, the Wolverine, and Logan. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I think there's some flaws, but I enjoy it. I gave it a 7.5 out of 10 as well.
Love it.
I put it just above Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Mainly because I think the writing was so much better in it was so good in this. Like, the writing in this is the one thing that threw me off, because and honestly, Jon Bernthal should be approached for writing for other things, maybe not outside of Marvel, because that is something I will commend with this. The writing in this was better than season 1 or 2 of The Punisher. Okay. You see, I mean, the one thing we didn't touch on was like his journey to honor his family and kill all those people is complete.
Yeah.
Like, he killed everybody now that killed his was involved in killing his family. And it's like, what does he do now? And that's the whole point of this. So what does he do now? And
without a war stallion, the warrior may as well be dead.
Yes,
that's not us no more, Apollo. We're like regular people now.
But seeing him, it's ridiculous.
You can tune a piano, but you cannot tune a fish. All right, that's my last one.
You notice he does a double entendre with that line where he says you can't tune a fish like tuna fish or tune a fish.
Right. Yeah. That's why the joke's so great.
I know.
Rocky was such a wordsmith.
But like I said at the beginning of this is him getting back on the horse, saying like, there's more to life than that he can do, and he can help people. And I think this is the part where he makes the turn from anti-hero to hero. With this single presentation, we can now take the way that he is a hero. Now, are his actions a little crazy? Yes, of course they are. But he is a hero now. Like, he is definitively a hero. So, right. Yeah.
Yeah. And you could make the argument with corrupt systems, there has to be an equalizing factor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If the system is incorruptible, then that's different. You don't need that. But, we know how that goes. So anyway. Well, all right, my friend. We have come to,
I do have one question.
Question
that we should discuss, because Spider-Man Brand New Day is going to be coming out in a month and a half?
Something like that. Yeah.
How do you think the Punisher, what do you think of the Punisher's character in Brand New Day? What do you think we're going to see out of him in Brand New Day? Because this feels very just out of left field, it almost feels like.
To be honest with you, the MCU Spider-Man feels a little too... I don't want to say sunshiny, but euphoric.
Mm-hmm. Well, of course, he's Spider-Man.
You're talking about entities that are on polar opposites, right?
Yeah.
And so I just wonder how you're going to pull that off, right? Like the tone, somebody's going to have to meet somebody somewhere. Like the tone in all Punisher series and or movies is dark as it should be. And then you have Spider-Man. I'm your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. So how shall the two meet? I don't know. It'll be interesting. I don't know what to expect, to be honest with you. But I figure the Punisher is going to have to be a little lighter. I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think the Punisher will be as dark. I think he'll be dark, but I don't think he'll be as dark. Yeah. But we'll see. I mean, what do you think?
That was the one thing that I thought about was, is Spider-Man going to go dark or is Punisher going to go lighter? And I think we're going to see Peter.
Well, to your point, he could go darker, not to cut you off, but the whole basis or the storyline behind this comic, not to get away, is basically Peter gets sick, dies, and comes back.
Mm-hmm.
And basically the spider resurrects him, and the spider's driving the car. And he's got powers that he didn't have before because he literally stopped at the ability to just climb walls and do certain things. He never stopped to think past that. But a part of that, if you lean into an animal based, instinct, could be that he does go darker. So I see your point. I just don't know that he's going to spend enough time around the Punisher. They're like, what, 12 villains in this thing? So I don't know that he's going to spend enough time around the Punisher to do that. But it's a good question. I mean, we will see.
I am so curious how this goes. Another thing that, I was so happy when I saw the trailer. I'm like, oh, Peter's depressed. I love it. That's my Spider-Man. We're all sick people when we're rooting for Peter Parker to be depressed. But that's when the best storylines in the comics and shows and movies is when Peter Parker is at his lowest, because then he comes out of his cave so much stronger, and by the end of the movie he is a much better person and he learns so much more. And that's why Spider-Man in general is a more relatable character than I would say any other superhero. So I think it's going to be a little bit on the darker side. I think we're going to get a little bit street level. We might see Daredevil. Because after Born Again season 2, he's in jail, and there is a scene in the trailers where he's in a prison. Now, here's my take, and I haven't seen this theory, so I'd be curious to see if anyone else has this theory. People have been thinking oh, maybe he's going to be the mutant spider and he'll have extra arms and stuff like that. I think that's going to be a dream sequence. Him in the prison. I think when you see him and he's like, "What's going on?" and you see all the webs and stuff, or when he comes out of that cocoon and he falls and shoots the web, I think that like that change that he's going on, I think he has a dream while that's happening, and that dream ends up being like him in a jail, like, and has the extra arms. He's fighting, and maybe he's, I don't know, envisions something.
Could be.
Similar to the sequence.
He's also fighting the hand.
That I don't. That's my thought.
That's that.
I don't think the hand shows up unless it's a dream sequence. That's my prediction.
Oh, okay.
I think that whole sequence is in a dream, and we are not getting the hand. I would love to come back. If I am right about this, I would love to come back to this, because it just, that whole scene, the way it's shot, the way he like rips apart the blade and stuff, it just feels weird. Like something's missing.
Okay.
And I think it's a dream sequence, or not even just a dream sequence, but maybe like a sort of like a mental like obstacle, sort of like what happens in like Thunderbolts.
Yep.
So now we don't fully know the villain of this. We know she's played by Sadie Sink from Stranger Things.
They're like 4 villains, right?
Yes, but apparently she's the main villain that like is manipulating everybody. Okay. Now the one thought that I've seen, and I didn't want to dive too much into this because I really don't want it to be like this, is that she's this universe's Jean Grey. Okay. And this is her like at the beginning before she joins the X-Men. I like Sadie Sink. I think she's a great actress. I've seen her in a lot of other things outside of just Stranger Things. I think she's better in other things than Stranger Things. But I don't know how I feel about her playing Jean Grey. It just feels very weird. And yeah, I think her I think she's might be playing with Peter's mind, and he might be going like through an obstacle, like almost a mental challenge that he like breaks out of. I think there's going to be a lot of like mental challenge and just like overall just not facing your fears, but facing the challenges in front of you as the moral of this story, in a similar sense of Spider-Man 2. Like this might be Tom Holland's Spider-Man 2.
It could be. It could be. It very well could be. Well, either way, we will see, my friend. Until the next time, hey, to everyone who joined, we appreciate you guys. We thank you so much, and we love bringing this content to you, so please check us out. I mean, we've got so much content coming out this week. I'm not even going to name it for you. You'll just see it when it comes out, because it's going to be a lot. Trust me, it's going to be a lot. But hey, for your host, T. Will, and my guy, Jordan Burton, you guys have a great day, and we'll be seeing you shortly. Good night, everybody, and peace. This movie was about
Lights, camera, action is going down. For my ATL movies, when we run this town with your host, T. Will, yeah, keeping it real. From the A to the screen, you can feel the thrill. Rolling with the classics, we're setting the pace. Highlighting the magic of our soulful space. Got the vibe, got the crew, making it tight. When the screen lights up, everything feels right. Grab your popcorn, let's make it loud. T-Will, T-Will. It's movie time, ATL style. Stand proud. From the silver screen to the hearts we steal. T-Will, T-Will. Every frame we capture is a real deal. Yeah. Talking premieres where the stars align. ATL views, yeah, they really shine. Behind the